Welcome back to Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm Ninon, your host, and I have the most incredible guest. And I was honored actually to be on his show as well, Dale Davidson. You've probably heard of him. But one thing that stuck in my mind about you, Dale, by the way, thank you for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure, Ninon.
Great.
What an honor.
It was an honor to have you on. It's an honor to be with each other.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
One thing I just remember about you, because I didn't and still don't know much about you.
Yes.
But you wrote Ronald Reagan's speech, apparently.
I did.
And I have to say that because I had met Ronald Reagan. I was in that kind of little bit of that circle in Los Angeles. I lived in Bel Air. And I never knew who wrote his speeches or that speech.
Yes.
And that was his speech, the inauguration, or?
I did write parts of it.
Yes.
That's the only thing that a White House speechwriter needs to admit, and that is they don't write alone.
They don't. Oh, they write part of it.
Yeah.
So you can't leave. Actually, can't take all of it. So you have to let the other person.
You get pieces.
You get
pieces.
Pieces you get.
And I was so honored to write words that came out of his mouth because he's my hero still to this day.
But he was very articulate.
Very articulate.
Oh, this man was
and
amazing.
A wonderful man, as was Nancy, his wife.
Yes.
She was a great lady. And it was just an honor working for him, and just to write some speeches for him and see him deliver them in the best possible way.
Yeah.
He was a real pro.
He certainly was. You know what I understand about him that made him very famous, which a majority of people do, and I probably don't do it either, is that he would actually, at a party or any place where he would let the other people talk, and he was the greatest listener in the world.
Yes.
Is that?
It's very true.
Very true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And he asked excellent questions.
Yes.
He would ask what I call open-ended questions that you can't answer by saying yes or no.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the worst thing you can do with a talk show.
That's right. And you know how that is.
Oh, I had a children's talk show, well, a teenage talk show for a long time.
I know you did, yeah.
And I realized that I could not have these yes and no answers, so I had to break because children, they're very honest.
Oh,
and they were, it was so difficult. I thought, no, yes, and I thought, it was tough.
They're the toughest interviews.
Oh, they are.
That you did that for years made you what you are today, because they're the toughest audience.
Oh, really?
They're the hardest.
Well, they are, because I remember having a lot of these kids on, and they said, "What are you going to ask me?" I said, "I have no idea."
It's going to come out in a minute.
Yeah, but I had to. A funny thing with my show, that show I had it for 16 years.
Yeah.
I did, I don't know, 400 or 500 shows. I'm not sure. Not one of the kids ever swore, never bad language, nothing, never.
Well, you set a good example for them.
I never had to. Well, it didn't mean so they had to be like me. They never want to be like a grown-up. They want to do their own thing. But not one of them had the greatest respect. And so I have 100% back of teenagers.
Oh,
I have
that's
their back.
nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Back to you. You have your own show as well.
I do.
What's the name of your show?
It's called Las Vegas Tonight.
Las Vegas Tonight.
Yeah, and it's a 1-hour television interview show. And I've been doing it, believe it or not, for 15 years.
Really?
In anticipation of you asking that question, I went and looked and talked to my videographer director.
Okay.
And he told me that we just finished episode number 420.
420.
And I figure sooner or later I'm going to get good at this.
Well, I had 400 shows with the kids on more. And I thought eventually I'm going to get this sorted out and I'm going to get it right with these kids.
Oh, yeah.
But don't you find every single interview is a challenge?
It is, yeah.
Because you really don't know. You didn't pre-interview them.
No. And you don't know exactly about people. I, as you do, request a bio so I can get some information about them, but I also don't know what I'm going to ask until they sit down.
Well, no, you don't. You really don't, because things come up.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't think I was going to ask this Ronald Reagan question, but it got into that.
There it was.
There it was. It just came up. It was there.
Yeah.
But that was when you were in the White House as well for some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to work for him in his second term. and he had been elected in the 1980 election.
Yes.
And I went to work for him in 84 and 85 until the end of his second term. And I started by working at the Republican National Committee, writing TV commercials for politicians, and they liked my work. And so they had me write a few for Ronald Reagan. And then I got to meet him, and my boss at the time at the Republican National Committee moved over to the White House as director of political affairs, and he brought me with him. And so I got a chance to sit with the speechwriters and sit with him and get to know him a little bit and write, routine things, for
writing routine.
Yeah.
So when he said his speech of what he wanted, how much of that would you change to make it sort of reach the audience? Because you had to get that speech to the audience, to the world, or to America anyway, to America's world. So you had to change certain things in there that he had to agree with.
Oh, absolutely. The other thing about being a good speechwriter is you need to know your client. You need to know the way they speak. You need to know what their patterns of speech and their favorite phrases are. You've got to know their politics in this case. And you got to work closely with him or her.
Did she have a lot to do? Did she have a lot to do with the speech?
Not so much. She had her own speechwriters, and she was in the East Wing, and had her own
surroundings,
and things that she wanted to do, and her own causes.
Because everybody said that she had a lot to do with everything he did, and she probably did.
She did.
She did.
Yeah. She was probably one of the most active first ladies in history.
Really?
She spent an awful lot of time with him. He was number one in her book, always.
Oh, how sweet! Isn't that nice?
And they loved each other. They were like teenagers.
How sweet!
They would hold hands on Air Force One, and look out the window and talk to each other. It was the sweetest thing to see.
Yes.
And but she consulted with him. She would never admit publicly that she had anything to do with.
But it was publicly known.
Yes, it was known.
It was publicly known, and I think it's all because they were together. And so when all that went through, were you there when he had the shooting?
No, that was before.
That was before.
Yeah, that was during his first term.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was such a tragedy, and we were so worried. Everybody was who loved him, and it was a close call. A lot of people don't know how close he came to dying. Yeah. And
really?
Yes. He was. I don't know whether people want to know the details, but he was shot with an exploding bullet. That once it enters, it explodes
inside you.
Yeah, and it really damaged everybody else who was hit on that day. And he kept his sense of humor right to the end.
That's typical of him, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he was.
That was him.
He said to the doctors as they were wheeling him into surgery, I was told, I hope you guys are Republicans. Which was a great line,
I would like to hear the answer, which we probably don't know.
Well, the chief surgeon said, right now we all are, Mr.
We
President.
all are now, whatever we may have been before.
Yeah, we all are now. And he just kept up a really good front, but he was hurt. He was really hurt, and of course Nancy was devastated, and it affected her almost probably more
as much, because they were so in love. I keep jumping around with different subjects.
Oh no, that's fine.
But yeah, it makes it interesting.
It does.
So Vegas has treated you quite well.
Yes, I like Vegas.
You like Vegas?
Yeah.
So you kind of made your home here. You've got your show going here.
Yeah.
What's in your mind now that you want to do? Because you're one of those people that all right, I've done this, and now I'm going to do this, and I've succeeded in that. I'm going here. What are you doing now? What are you going to up your sleeve?
As you know from your appearance on my show, my bent is more toward faith-based.
Faith-based, yes. It's fabulous.
Programming. And my show appears coast to coast on a Christian television network.
Yes.
And it's because it's what I'm interested in and really, truly what I want to do in Las Vegas.
Isn't that right? So what is it?
You know, Vegas is called Sin City and is known as Sin City, and we understand that it's our business here to
we get all that.
Entertainment and food and shows and so on.
Well, I think that used to be.
Yeah, but today we're more diversified than we ever used to be. There's all different kinds of people here, including people of faith, of all different faiths.
Different kind of religion,
yes,
especially Vegas.
Yes, and as I say, we're a mission field, and I'm a missionary, and the mission field comes to us.
Yes.
They come from all over the world, all different religions. They get a chance as they watch your show. They get a chance to watch my show as well.
Yes.
And I always try to, by the end of my program, you know, I won't pound away on my religious beliefs, but by the end of my show, as you did,
yes,
I asked the question, you know, tell me a little bit about your personal faith if you don't mind talking about
sharing
it.
With,
yeah.
You kind of, when you do this on your show, Dale,
yeah.
It's worldwide.
Yeah.
So everybody, when you say faith-based, doesn't mean to say it's one particular religion.
Right.
It means it's all religion.
Right.
So we're sort of, you know, there's all religion. There's a religion in us somewhere. Every
yes.
person in the entire world has some type of religion
yes.
within them, whatever
yes.
that may be, and no one's there to criticize it.
Yes. And that's what I do with my program. And I've had Buddhists and Hindus and Mormons and Catholics and Jews and you name it on my show.
You name it, you've had it.
Yeah, I've had it.
Is there any particular religion that over the years you've done this that you like, that you sort of kind of think, wow, they've got
well, I'm personally a Christian.
You're a Christian.
So
you like the Christian way?
I like the Christian approach and learning about Jesus, you know, who is
yes.
the central figure of that entire religion. And so I like to express my views when I'm asked, which you're doing.
I'm doing right now.
So I do believe that that God walks with us
yes.
and brings us through difficult things. You know, I get questions every now. I'm actually a licensed chaplain for Media Fellowship International. Yeah, and we minister to people in media. That's what we do.
So maybe I need ministering to.
We all need ministering to.
We all need it. Yeah. We all need it, regardless.
Yes, and what I say to them is, you know, we should lift each other up
yes.
instead of tear each other down.
Yes.
We should do our best to help one another. That's the golden rule, you know. One of the most important things that Christ ever said was, we are all here to help one another.
Oh, we should be.
And we
should help other people. I mean, I know that
to love one another.
Yeah, I know that some people want to help more than others, but at the same time, we're all human.
Yes.
We're all as that. Because there's only two differences: one's male and one's female.
Yeah,
and
that's
kind of the only difference. And you look at it, I look at it as a world thing of people. Yeah. That's how I look at it. It doesn't matter whether you're from China, Istanbul, Turkey, or wherever. It doesn't make any difference. I'm English, so am I any different? No. I just talk in a different kind of dialogue or different language because that's where I was born.
Yes.
But I'm no different to anybody else.
Yes. That's the best way, I think, to think about yourself and where you fit in the universe. You know, we are one of billions of people.
We are, just the same as everybody else.
Yeah, and we have an opportunity to
in this world.
Of
being born, taking your first breath.
That's right.
You know what it is? You know what it's all about? You take the first breath. How wonderful. And then you got your last breath.
Yes.
And it's what you do in between.
Yeah.
It's what type of human being are you in between?
Yeah. A friend
what do
of
you
mine.
count yourself as?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's funny what you just said because I have a friend that has a long poem, and I'll have him come on your show sometime.
Oh, I'd love it.
And
yes.
He's got it memorized, but it's called The Dash, and I can't do the poem because I don't have it memorized. But it's about the dash on your tombstone. The important thing, there's a date that you began,
and then there's a dash.
Yeah, and then the critically important thing is what did you do with that dash?
I'm going to tell you a funny story. This is about Hal Roach. Hal Roach was born in Hal Roach was born in Elmira. Hal Roach was a very good friend of my husband and I. Hal Roach was born in Elmira.
Right.
So I'm in my Elmira with her roach because for something we're doing or whatever. He was like 90 odd when he was there.
Yes.
And they took him to this cemetery.
Yes.
And there's one side has got his name on, and the other side has somebody else's name on.
Right.
Anyway, so he walks in, and we're standing there. It's kind of in January in the cold weather. And he looks at this tombstone, and it's got her roach on it. Right. And it's got exactly what you just said. It's got the date he was born and the dash. And he looks at it and he says, well, you don't have the rest of it. And he says, are you waiting for me to die to put the rest of it?
And the answer to that is apparently.
And he was all sort of disrupted about this whole thing. And I'm standing there sort of, I don't know what to say or what to do, like, because he's still alive and he's next to me and there's no date there. And I'm like,
and what do I say? Talk about being put on the spot.
What do I say?
That's terrific. That's
so when
terrific.
you say that,
yes.
that reminded me of that story.
Yes.
And he's standing with his stick and he's all sort of humbled up. It's a little bit upset, I think, a little bit out of joint. You don't have my death there yet.
Boy, he filled up his dash, though.
Well, he died.
What a life he had.
He was a very, very good friend of my husband and I. We took him
yeah.
everywhere with us, to the racetrack, everywhere. And he died, I think it was 100 and a half, but he had to have that half in there.
Maybe put that on the next to the dash, 100.5.
I love it. I love it. It's like going back to childhood. You know, when they say, how old are you? I'm 4.5. All kids do that.
That's
I'm 5
right.
and a half. You've got to have that half in there.
I know.
And it's always more than what it really is.
I have a friend who does the same thing, but he says, I'm 75 3/4. I said, well, you must be proud of that, and I'm happy that you are.
Let's go for the next quarter. I'm making 76.
That's right.
That's wonderful.
That's right.
How can anybody reach you and get on your show?
Sure. Just give me a telephone call. I put my cell phone number on every episode of my show, and I get some amazing calls. It's 702-480-3989, 702-480-3989, and my website is VegasSaints.org.
Simple and sweet.
Yeah.
It's funny, I put my phone number on everything I do, and everyone says, why do you do that? And I said, well, because I have a phone number. And they say, well, why do you want the world to know? I said, if I didn't want the world to know, why do I have one?
Why would I be on TV?
Yeah, why would I be on TV when no one can reach me? We want to be reached, don't we?
We do.
Do we like that? Is this some kind of hidden secret that
we
want everyone to know
love this.
us?
Can you tell we're having fun here? We like being on TV.
We do. We love it. I love being on TV.
I know. Isn't it great?
Well, I don't pre-interview any of my guests, as you
I
know.
know
I don't.
Yeah,
because I find that more... They say, Ninon should pre-interview her guests. And I said, why? Then I know all about them. What's the point of having them on?
Oh, yeah.
I want to find out what's like you. I want to find out what's going on with you.
Yeah, Larry King was the same way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He never pre-interviewed. And he had producers galore, but he never pre-interviewed anybody. And he wouldn't read an author's book in advance. He'd read it
afterwards.
Because he wanted to ask the same questions that the audience would ask.
Yes, and they wouldn't be reading the book.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's what we like to do, is we like to bring in the audience and the people as much as possible, whereas if we've had a pre-interview, then we're not the same as they are.
Yeah, that's true. What I try to do is to think about that one person. You know, I try to imagine a man or a woman watching the show.
Yes, there you go.
And I say to them,
I do.
You do that?
That's a whole audience in there.
Yeah,
that's my audience
right. That's
there.
right. And I try to think, all right, what do they want to know?
Yeah, what would they like? Yeah, what do you want to know?
What do you want to know about Ninon? What do you want to know about the next guest? And then I do my best just to ask the questions.
Dale Davidson, absolutely amazing. It's such an honor to have him on my show.
God bless you,
I'm
Ninon.
going to have you back again.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll be back on your show again.
Okay, that's right.
We'll
and
go back and forth.
We'll circulate. We'll just keep doing the same thing over and over
again. Every few months we'll come back again. Thank you for watching Vegas Live with Ninon. We'll be right back with our next guest. Take care.